Hello and welcome to our special time today thinking about Easter, which is coming up in the next few weeks. I wonder what you think about when you think about Easter. I've got some things to help me. Maybe it's the Easter Bunny. I wonder if you're all looking forward to the Easter Bunny visiting you on Easter Day. Maybe it's lambs, seeing those new lambs being born in the fields, jumping around, really excited. Maybe it's baby chicks. Maybe it's the beautiful flowers that we see at this time of year. But most of all, I think what you'll be thinking of is chocolate, Easter eggs. Who doesn't like chocolate? I wonder what all these things have to do with Easter. Well, Easter is a journey. It's not just about Easter Day. It starts all the way back 7 days to the Sunday before that in church we call Palm Sunday. So let me take you on an adventure. Our adventure starts on a road, a pathway, and Jesus was travelling to Jerusalem, the big city. And people in Jesus' times were really fed up with the Romans and how things were happening, and they wanted a new ruler. And they thought Jesus was going to be that new king. And so he decided to travel into the city, and he got a donkey. An unusual choice for a leader or a king to choose, maybe. But he took the donkey and he travelled along the road to Jerusalem, and people came out and began to cheer and shout. They were so excited that Jesus was going to change things for him. And they took down branches from the trees, the palm trees, and they began waving them, saying, "Woohoo, Jesus is coming. Hooray for Jesus. Jesus is the best. Hosanna." And they cheered him all the way into Jerusalem, and they had a big celebration. But the story is only just beginning. So Jesus has arrived in Jerusalem, and it was a very special time. It was the Passover, and Jesus wanted to have a special meal with his friends, and they had some vegetables and they had some lamb and bread and wine. But this wasn't any old special festival meal for Jesus and his friends, for Jesus told him that this would be the last meal they would share together. And he took bread and he took wine, and he passed it and shared it with his friends. And as they ate the bread and drank the wine, he said, "Every time you have this bread and this wine together, please remember me, because one of you around this table is going to betray me. You're going to tell lies about me and hand me over to the Romans, and tomorrow is going to be a very sad day." The friends were very confused. They all loved Jesus. He was their best friend. And this was a celebration day. They didn't want to feel sad. So they carried on eating their bread and drinking their wine. But in their mind, they were looking around, wondering which of their friends was going to betray Jesus. And so we come to the cross. In Jesus' times, when people had been really, really naughty, they didn't just get sent to prison. They were crucified. They were killed by being hung on a cross. That wasn't special for Jesus. It's what happened to anybody who'd been really naughty. So Jesus' friend, Judas, betrayed him. He went to the Roman soldiers and told him some lies just so he could have some money. And so the soldiers arrested Jesus and took him and hit him and hurt him. They placed a crown of thorns upon his head. They thought his friends were calling him a king, so they made him a crown, but not a gold crown. They put a robe on him, made of purple, the sign of royalty, but then they whipped him and hurt him. And then they made him carry the cross, a really, really heavy cross, all along the pathway. Remember the path where he was riding a donkey, where everybody was cheering and so excited? Now they were booing him and cursing him and showing hatred to him. And when Jesus got to the very end of that path, he had to climb to the top of a hill. The soldiers put the cross in the hill. They took a hammer and they took some nails and they hit the nails into Jesus' hand. Jesus hung on the cross for many, many hours. And he even spoke to God, his Father, and said, God, please forgive these soldiers and my friend for what they've done, because they don't understand. And then he took one last breath and he died. The sign language for Jesus is this, Jesus, and that represents the nails that went through his hands. The day we remember Jesus dying is called Good Friday. A strange name for such a sad day. But it was good, because Jesus died to take away all the bad things that people had done. Not just then, but were going to do in the future, including the bad things we do. But that's not the end of the story. The story doesn't end with a sad death. Let's see where we go from here. And so we come to the tomb, a cave, if you like, where Jesus was buried. And the day Jesus died was a special day for the Jewish people, called the Sabbath, where they did no work. So Jesus' body was quickly taken down, wrapped in a cloth, and then placed in a tomb lent by his friend Joseph. And it was sealed by a big stone. And so Jesus' friends went away feeling really sad, sadder than they've ever felt before. And so Saturday came and passed as they had their Sabbath and couldn't work. And so on Sunday, Jesus' friends, the ladies, Mary and his other friends, went to the tomb to pay their respects and to see his body and to check it had been dealt with properly. But when they got there, the stone had gone. And there was a light, such a bright light radiating from the tomb. They couldn't believe their eyes. Who had stolen Jesus? Why would they do that? That is so cruel. Do not be afraid, a voice came from the cave, and the light came forward. It was an angel. Do not be afraid. The women were afraid. What have you done with Jesus? Where is he? They said. Do not be afraid. Jesus isn't here. He's alive. What? Said the ladies. This can't be true. This doesn't happen. He's Jesus. He's come back to life, just as he promised you he would. Go and tell your friends. Mary and her friends were confused. They wanted to believe it. They so wanted to believe it. But could it be? They turned around from the tomb and turned straight into Jesus. He was there. He was alive. Go, Jesus said. Go and share the good news and tell all my friends I'll meet them on the beach and we'll have breakfast together. A sad day turned into the most amazing, miraculous day. Jesus was, after all, God's Son, and to prove it, he came back to life. So back to the things that we think about at Easter. Those rabbits, those chickens, those lambs, and best of all, the chocolate eggs. What have they got to do with Jesus dying and coming back to life? Well, we've just started the season of spring, and already we're seeing wonderful signs of spring. We see the lambs being born in the fields. We might see some rabbits. We might hear the birds having their baby chicks, nests coming empty again. We see bees buzzing around. We see daffodils and tulips and all sorts of beautiful crocuses and pansies growing in the grasses and in our gardens. Spring is a real sign of new life. And that's what we're remembering at Easter, new life and the hope that Jesus gives us, remembering that he died to take away all the bad things that we've done. But what about this? We can't have Easter without this egg. The egg reminds us of the shape of the tomb. The tombs in Jesus' days would look very much like the egg shape. But also, eggs these days are hollow. There's nothing inside them. So when we crack it open, it reminds us that the tomb where Jesus was died, was empty. He wasn't there. He was alive. Sometimes, though, the chocolate makers trick us and they might put in a little toy or some sweets or something. If we shake it before we open it, we might hear something and be excited to know what's inside. And if we're really lucky to have one of those eggs, that reminds us of the wonderful surprise the ladies had on that first Easter morning when Jesus wasn't there, but surprised them by being alive. Whatever you do over the next 2 weeks in your school holidays, I pray that you will have a really exciting and safe break from school, but most of all, have a really happy and blessed Easter. Don't eat too many chocolate eggs. Bye-bye for now.